this is Bill Apter, and it's an extreme pleasure here to be speaking with the one and only Nature Boy, Buddy Rogers. Buddy?
Well, it's my pleasure, really, after we've talked for, some time now, been together a couple of days. I realized that, you meeting me and me meeting you was sort of a very mutual thing. I heard a lot about you as far as being a writer, and you telling me that he was a great fan of wrestling when you were younger and that I was sort of your idol. So this makes it more mutual, and I don't know, there's a greater feeling to the whole aspect. But I hope I can come across with things of real interest to you, and let's feel free that anything you wish to ask me will shoot right from the shoulder.
Okay, let's take it then from the very beginning, Buddy. Okay, how did Buddy Rogers start out? How did you break into professional wrestling?
I was an amateur wrestler for 8 years at the Camden YMCA, and at the age of 18 I turned professional. And
how did you make the transition? Who was it that saw you and got you into professional wrestling?
The first man that came to me was Freddie Grubmeyer. This gentleman was I guess he was the most unique wrestler I've seen outside of Jimmy Snooker today. But he was very lean. He had arms like buggy whips and very thin legs, and he only weighed 2'5" and stood 6'5". But when he got on you, thought a cobra had you. And the skin on this man was just like an elephant. You just never got away from him anymore. He just latched on, and that was it. And just the most deceiving individual that a man would ever see. But anyway, Freddie was the one person that influenced me highly on becoming a professional wrestler. And I had my first professional match in Garden Pier in Atlantic City in late 1939.
Who was your opponent?
Mo Brazen. This fellow was a Jewish fellow out in New York, and I guess the match went 4 or 5 minutes, and I just felt like I was all over him.
And now at that particular time, you had not developed, I assume you had not developed the Buddy Rogers strut, or had any of the flamboyant...
I first broke into this wrestling under the name of Herman Dutch Rohde, spelled R-O-H-D-E. And naturally, being born and raised in Camden, I started in the Jersey area. Well, the influx of people in Atlantic City and Wildwood and all the shore areas was very high that summer, and they promoted in the shore areas, and it was very easy for me to break in and be seen by a lot of people in that area for the summer. But I had my first 43 matches, which took me into about the next year. Wrestling wasn't as prevalent then as it is now, and wasn't as popular then as it is now. The coverage of the media of television definitely bursted wrestling out of the seams, believe me. Where we would wrestle before 1,000, 1,500 people, today you wrestle between 15 and 20,000 people in the same arena. So I went through the tough area of wrestling, and I went through the golden area of wrestling.
When did Buddy Rogers become that flamboyant character that he's noted?
Let me start up. 1945, I went to Houston, Texas, and won the Texas state title.
Who did you win that from, Buddy?
We held a tournament. There was over 350 wrestlers that went through this thing in about a 9-month period. And Mars Siegel was the promoter. And he told me, he said, Buddy, he said, this is when he called me up in Jersey. And he said to me, Buddy, you come down. He said, I guarantee you that you'll fare high amongst these guys because you got a lot on the ball. But he said, this will be something that you can really put your teeth into and just might be able to come out on top. Well, as the good Lord would have it, I was very fortunate. I did come out on top. I won the Texas title. In them years, like I said, the money was still a little lean, but for me to average over $100,000 a year was a big thing. And in fact, I was sending money home so fast. My mother asked my brother if I was, if he thought that I was holding up a bank, because we weren't used to all the luxuries I began to receive in 45. But anyway, to make a long story short, I held the Texas title for 3 years. And by the way, Bill, I've held every sectional title in the entire United States. Pacific Coast title, Midwest title, Eastern States title. There isn't one title that was ever in the United States that I haven't held. And as you know, I'm the only fellow that can say that I held both the WWF title and the NWA title. But
getting back to the Buddy Rogers that won.
Okay, now, in 1947, I left Texas, I went to California. It was right around the time that Gorgeous George started to get off the ground. And they brought me out there as an opposition to him. I went in opposition with a promoter called Huey Nichols, who was affiliated in the Hollywood Legion Stadium. And downtown was Johnny Doyle and Gorgeous George. So downtown, I mean LA, and they were promoting out of the Olympia. But I finally got into I laid on the beach quite a while, and before I actually took off in Hollywood, and I got real dark, I mean an exceptionally dark tan. I always stayed dark anyway, but this was one time I was exceptionally dark. And when I got into the ring and I took this white chenille robe off, everybody started to scream, "Nature Boy," and it was right around the time that Nat King Cole brought the song out. In fact, I used to go to the bandbox in LA and catch King Cole, and I'd walk in the front door, and I don't care what he was doing, if he seen me, he'd stop. He had a trio. The whole trio would stop, and then he'd start playing, "There was a boy, da-da-da-da-da-da-da." And he'd done this repeatedly any time I ever came to the bandbox. In fact, he had a fellow in the audience that he used to call up to have sing a song now and then. His name was Frankie Lane, that later on became a very big star. In fact, the first big number he put out was Mule Train, if you recall. But that was around 1947 was the time where I really got off the ground.
That was the turning point in your career that made you known as the Buddy Rogers.
Right. That's where the strut developed.
Now, what did that do to your life from then on? What
did it do to my life?
Change your life? I mean, was that the thing that really skyrocketed you?
Yes. Oh yeah, without a doubt. See, I was very fortunate to be on the ground floor of television. In fact, I believe I was the first performer in the history of TV. And I got the first 13-week segment that came out of Rainbow Arena in Chicago. And if a lot of you people can recall, Wayne Griffin was the TV announcer. And we broke in, when it comes to great personalities, we broke in Steve Allen as a TV announcer in Santa Monica on wrestling. We broke in Ernie Kovacs in Trenton Arena.
Dennis James eventually came.
Dennis James came later.
Right.
Dennis was broke in Jamaica, Long Island. And in fact, I did the color for Dennis the first 4 or 5 weeks that he was on the air. Yeah, true. And Al Mayer was the promoter then. He had a partner known as Toots Mott, which later on they split up and went their separate ways. But
time in your career,
Yes.
what were your sights set on? Was there, the draw of the National Wrestling Alliance Heavyweight Championship in your mind
The
yet?
National Wrestling Alliance title was never formed until 1949. Sam Muchnick became the first. There was opposition in St. Louis. There was a very, very super promoter by the name of Tom Pax. Tom Pax was the Mike Jacobs of wrestling. He also was the man that developed the Shriner Circus. Very, very wealthy man. And Sam was a writer for a newspaper in St. Louis and wrote for Tom for many years. And finally, they had some kind of a falling out. And Sam took it upon himself to start as his own promotion. Well, he wore out 3 different angels, just flattened them out. Just the money just went out the front door as fast as it could go. And when this happened, he was about on his last leg. There wasn't anything left to do, and he was strictly tapping out. And as luck would have it, he called me on the phone one day, and he said, "Buddy, I was always a great attraction for Tom Pax." He said, "Buddy," he said, "if I had you on the card, I could sell out Kiel Auditorium." He said, "Do me a big favor because, man, I'm going down the drain." So I said, "Well," I said, "what do you got to offer?" He said, "Well," he says, "ever since I split away from Tom Pax, I made Don Eagle my champion, and, I feel that, Luthez is on one side with Pax, and I got Don Eagle, and I think someday we could create a tremendous match." So I said, "Well, go ahead." So we made the match between me and Eagle. I beat Don Eagle, and after that I sold out Kiel Auditorium, I guess, about 14 times in a row, one after the other, and got Sam off the ground so great that Tom Pax called him up and told Sam that he's getting out of the business. We flat killed him.
Where were your sights set at this particular time? What was your goal? Did you have a goal, or were you just, wrestling to stay active and, make money at that time?
Oh, I was always money oriented, I always figured, what the hell, I could drive a truck.
Right.
If I was going to just squander my money and stay at home. But no, I just felt that, I wanted to be the greatest in wrestling.